Sound off. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Esteban Hours Week in Review. Sound off. How are you? How are you? How are you? Today, we are talking about Mr. Alex Jones. Do you know or remember who that is? We shouldn't, because he should have been long gone and have disappeared, but apparently he is not. And not only is he still around, he is still on TV, or I should say the internet, and he still appears to have loads of money, loads and loads of money, to where his own expenses are probably higher than half or more of the United States of America. Go figure. Now, if you remember, this gentleman, he is the gentleman that said the Sandy Hook shooting was a myth. It was a fantasy. It didn't happen. And those poor children who were innocently murdered by the deranged killer did not happen. He was sued by the families of those murdered children for $1.5 billion. And they won that settlement through a civil lawsuit. What happened? We don't know. But before we get into it, let's bring in our panel, activist and co-host and co-producer of the Esteban Hours Week in Review, Jeremy Baker, co-producer, co-creator and contributor of the Week in Review, Mike Felino, and also welcoming back to the Esteban Hours Sound Off is Miss Ovidia, radio personality and host of the Vita Talks. Hey there.
What's up, everybody?
Hey.
Good evening, everyone.
All right.
This is gonna be fun.
Okay, so we're talking about this this gentleman that I hoped we would never talk about, except that he was either in jail or bankrupt. But it looks like we're not talking about either or, are we?
Nope.
No.
In fact,
Wow.
we're talking about how he is spending upwards of $100,000 a month on expenses. Really,
Wow.
really out of touch, out of sight for someone that owes over $1.5 billion.
You know what blows me away about this is
the
average less than 50% of individuals in America make less than $30,000 a year. And this guy is literally spending over 3 times that much per month on himself.
On what? What do
you
spend that money on? Like, I know rich people can spend money, but what?
I'm glad you said that. That's a perfect segue into our first video.
I did that.
There we go. That was good.
Spending is frustrating Sandy Hook families who are trying to collect on the $1.5 billion in judgments against him for calling the 2012 shooting there a hoax. The InfoWars host has been paying his wife $15,000 a month, according to the most recent spending report filed in his bankruptcy case. He also spent nearly $8,000 on housekeeping, more than $6,000 for meals and entertainment, and about $840 a week on groceries. Sandy Hook families have another pending lawsuit claiming Jones hid millions of dollars in an attempt to protect his wealth. One of Jones' lawyers has called these allegations ridiculous.
Of course, they call it ridiculous. Everything with them is a myth, or
the only thing that's accurate is maybe the cost of groceries, but even that's a little ridiculous.
Unless you have 10 kids, $840 a week. I mean, what kind of food are you eating? Like gold-plated steak?
What I want to know is
you're eating.
Oh, go ahead.
Bison meat and like what are you eating? You know what I mean?
Well,
Jesus.
I don't know what his home is like, but if you're spending $8,000 a month on housekeeping, sell your house if you owe people, victims, families that you defamed. Sell your house that costs that and give them a penny because you haven't even given them a penny yet.
That should already tell you what his assets are. You spend $8,000 on housekeeping. I have a housekeeper. I spend a couple of $100 a month.
Yeah, fine.
Get out of here. Stop.
He gives his wife $15,000 a month.
Which fine. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what I mean? Just the overall expenses when you add them up. You know what I mean? Maybe your wife should cut back on some of the shopping and Gucci bags and
for someone that $1.5 billion they should be living in a poorhouse right now. They should be living in a shack with no walls and no ceilings. Okay, they should have rags on and holes in their shoes. Okay, they should be walking to wherever they're going. No cars, none of that. If you owe over $1.5 billion, this is outrageous and ridiculous, and it comes to terms of where's the legal system? What are they doing? What's happening? Because just like we say with Trump, if any of us did anything that Trump is doing, we would be arrested and thrown in jail, and the keys will be thrown away. Same thing. If any of us will be brought up on civil charges, especially as high as $1.5 million, our credit will be shot right now. We'd probably have no job. And our debt ratio would have gone up. We would have no money for housekeeping and things of that sort, let alone $840 a week on food.
Well, my thing is, like, how do you? I want to hear Ovita's opinion on this too. But how do you justify this? I just don't understand how you. I mean, these people just obviously we've seen over the last few weeks. They have no conscience. They have no soul. No. They don't care. They really don't. You know what I mean? He's just going to go on doing his thing, living his fantastic life.
Go ahead, Ovita.
Uh-oh. Can't hear you now. Uh-oh. We lost Ovita for a second. Uh-oh. I have to remove her from there. But yeah, what we're saying is just... Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Well, it's just... I don't understand how you could lose a lawsuit. Forget what the contents of it was, how heinous his conduct was, but it's a 1.6 whatever billion dollar settlement. How is there no structured payment? Who's looking in on this? So it's one thing if he's spending all the money he's spending on whatever he's spending it on, but there's got to be some like bean counter somewhere going, oh, Alex Jones missed his first payment to all of these victims' families. Where's the accountability? Because if you don't have a method to hold this guy to the fire, to hold anyone to the fire, how do you expect the victims to get the money? If you miss child support for one day, and rightfully so, they come after you. So I don't understand what's going on.
Let me bring Ovita back in, see if we got the audio fixed. So you can hear us now? Can we hear you? Say something for us.
Yes, sorry. Someone called me.
There we
go. I think it's just privilege. I think people that's used to moving and doing what they want to do, I think that's what it is. It's a privileged mindset, and mostly that's a very selfish mindset. And they, so by any means necessary, they're trying to keep what they got to themselves. He don't care about the damage, really. And to me, that's the heartless thing to me is to talk about kids. And kids' life that was taken. Like, how can you, as a human being, say anything negative about that situation? That just goes to show what type of person that he is, for real.
How can you, as a human being, speak ill of a situation like that you know nothing about? You weren't there. Yeah. You don't have any friends or connections with anyone there. Yeah. Nothing. You're just going by word of mouth, hearsay, and what you're hearing.
Well, like Ovita said, what kind of person is he? I mean, was he doing the defaming he was doing and the conspiracy nonsense because it was his hobby? No, he was making a huge astronomical living, not just peddling lies like your average MAGA cheerleader trying to get a bunch of idiots to vote. This guy is just going on his platform and talking about how no one died in Sandy Hook. They're just stealing our guns. This guy's a raving lunatic. He's one step away from tinfoil hat. You know the guy on History Channel with the big hair, aliens? That's Alex Jones. It's just the aliens guy with a platform. And if you're he's worse than a Tucker Carlson. He's worse than anyone on Fox News. This guy made his empire off basically defaming children because that's what got him the notoriety he got. They love this counter narrative of these bullies love being looked at like they're pissing off the libs, right? That's what he got his money off of, over victims. and people that don't care about victims.
He has no business having a show right now. And if anything, part of that settlement, that should have been the first stipulation that he has to get rid of.
Earn it the old-fashioned way.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you said that, Esteban. That's actually go ahead.
Let me go over a couple of the things that had already been mentioned just for emphasis. Jones has been paying his wife $15,000 a month. He's been spending $7,900 on housekeeping, $6,300 on meals and entertainment a month, which makes me then ask the question: how the hell are you spending $840 a week on food and then $6,300 on meals and entertainment?
That's $15,000. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. And did you know that
it's like 10 G's a month on food?
Yeah. What? And did you know that he has more than one house? He's spending $6,700 a month on a second home. And this is all reports from the Associated Press. Here's a quote that he has recently said: "If anything, I like to go to nice restaurants. This is my deal. I like to go on a couple of nice vacations a year, but I think I pretty much have earned that in this fight." This is what he's said on his InfoWars show. I can't help but to bring in the mental aspect of this. Do you guys not agree there are so many on the right? Well, there's so many on both sides, but in this case, we're talking about the right, where there are mentally challenged folks that are just, they don't seem to think normal like the rest of the world.
Yeah. That's actually a good way to set up our next video. Let me just explain it real quick. The first part of it is him just ranting and raving about Sandy Hook and all this other stuff on his show InfoWars, and then the second part of the show is full-blown conspiracy nonsense where he actually talks about he'd be willing to eat his neighbors if there was an apocalypse. So enjoy.
First Amendment killed him. Second, get rid of the Second Amendment, get rid of the First Amendment. They're bad. They killed the kids too. George Washington killed him. Jesus killed him. We should rename the whole planet Sandy Hook. Everything. There should be holidays. We should bow 5 times a day to New Haven, Connecticut for the kids that died. Every American's to blame. Every gun owner's to blame. I'm to blame. We're all guilty. To Bloomberg and Soros. Turn our guns in. Turn our guns in. I know. I did it. I killed them. I killed them. I killed them. I know. I killed them. So I'm done talking about it. I will eat my neighbors.
I just love that.
My superpower is being honest.
Sorry.
I've extrapolated this out, and I won't have to for a few years. I got food and stuff.
That's great.
But I'm literally looking at my neighbors now and going,
I'll eat my neighbors.
I'm ready to hang them up, and gut them, and skin them, and chop them up. And you know what? I'm ready. Ooh. My daughters aren't starving to death. I'll eat my neighbors.
My daughters are not starving to death. I will eat neighbors. What if the neighbors are thinking the same thing?
Yeah, well,
I wonder if his neighbors saw that clip. Right? I wonder who his neighbors are. I would love to send you this
that clip. HOA is going to have something to say about it.
You know what? Man, I think that's why he's paying his wife $15,000. That's hush money, because he's so ignorant. He sounds so stupid. He giving her hush money. That's why he giving her $15,000, because he got to be saying crazy stuff at home. I don't even know what to say about this man, and I don't even know him like that. I think people do anything for ratings. They do anything for money. He took a chance, and he thought that this was going to go over well because of the other stuff that he did. But he didn't think this, when it comes to children being murdered, you should be quiet and empathetic, at least empathetic. You will never win over.
Should go away.
But some of these people, I don't think actually believe the shit that comes out of their mouth. I think they do it just to push an agenda. And like Levita said, ratings, right? Ratings equals dollars. Okay, that's all they care about. Alex Jones, on the other hand, I honestly think he is drinking the QAnon Kool-Aid and believes everything that he says.
What's interesting
insanity.
Is exactly the way he exaggerates is intentional.
Wow.
So I do agree that a Tucker Carlson knows he's full of it. He just wants ratings. And Alex Jones definitely falls more under the tinfoil hat brigade situation. but he's still delivering his nonsense deliberately. And what I mean is, did you see how he goes, oh, we should name everything Sandy Hook. Everything's about Sandy Hook. No one ever said that.
Yeah.
You did. Your exaggeration of the simple respect and acknowledgement of the gun-related tragedy that happened, and your hate of anyone that even suggests that it's an actual problem to murder children, you're the one that's exaggerating it, and you're the one that's making it seem like we're blowing it out of proportion. You're just a raging lunatic, and you're using this tragedy to sell ratings to a bunch of people who are used to just listening to the loudest nonsense that they get their hands on. That's it.
Yes. And let me tell you, I can't stand it when children do it. When my children do that, you're pinpointing something bad they did, and now they're bringing out 10 other things that ain't got nothing to do with the bad thing that you're disciplining them for. Now, let alone an adult that's doing it on in the public eye on national television. It's shameful. It's pathetic. It's ridiculous. Ovita asked, who's watching this? Their own people are watching this. So they bounce this foolishness back and forth to each other. And then when they look outside to all of us who are not thinking this way, they're looking at us as though we're the aliens.
Yep. It's almost cult behavior.
Almost. Actually, no, it is completely.
It's not like the full indoctrination, because not everyone that's an Alex Jones or a Joe Rogan fan or whatever, or a Charlie Kirk fan are MAGA people. But these spheres cross for a reason. It's the same type of mentality, same type of gullibility and ignorance and fear and hate and insecurity and cowardice. And they all feed off of it.
Yeah.
What I remember back in the day when somebody was like a conspiracy theorist, they were like living in a bunker in somebody's backyard. You know what I mean? They were off the grid. Like now Donald Trump and his company have made Alex Jones and people have made this behavior almost normal to the point where literally 25, maybe I'd say maybe 15% of the country really believe this.
Oh yeah. To your point.
You know, mostly conspiracy theorists, most of the time that I've seen them, they are trying to be positive and be for the people, whether it sounds weird or not. But mostly I haven't seen really negative, them acting really negative. This man is on a whole nother level. It's the way that the clip that we just saw, well, I killed him. I mean, how could you even, it's like you not even taking it seriously. Like that wasn't even a serious, he was joking. That wasn't even him. Yeah, I did it. Yes, I just can't fathom. How did he think that was gonna fly? Like, I'm gonna tell you, I've never listened to him and I never will. But that is just utterly, I don't even know what to say. He didn't do the shooting, but he needs to go to jail. I don't know.
I agree with that.
Well, he was found liable for slander and being an asshole.
I can't watch the show either, because honestly, we watched that 45-second clip and I feel dumber already just by watching that. So I can't imagine what would happen to my brain if I actually watched the whole show.
It's less frustrating to troll Truth Social for like 15 minutes than to watch 5 seconds of that guy.
Oh,
and that's not okay.
No. We really hope.
He make me want somebody to take him in the wrestling ring and have a couple of rounds with him. That's all.
Let's give him and millions of other people.
Right.
But we really, really hope that this gentleman gets what's coming to him, and that these families eventually get what's coming to them of what they're due for. You know, the Sandy Hook situation has now been what, 9-10 years ago?
Yeah, something.
And it's still I know it's still in my mind and my heart.
It should be.
I'm not far away from where Sandy Hook, Connecticut is, and I still remember it like it's yesterday. And if I can, Think about those families that has had to go on with their lives for the last 10 years or so without their precious babies, and then turn around and be stabbed in the back a second time with the malicious, vicious conspiracy rhetoric pushed through this gentleman and others that were following him. Really, really sad. And to know that millions of Americans who watch him were probably thinking the same thing or persuaded by his attitude and way of thinking, and thinks that or thought that Sandy Hook was a myth. But we do hope that they get what they want. And I want to say to the government, to the United States government, or whoever the hell is in charge of the civil process, get your act together. Get your act together. This man doesn't owe $1,500. He owes $1.5 billion. And he's parading around just the same. There is no difference of what he's been doing from before owing the billions of dollars. Get it together and send some of your marshals and sheriffs over there to go confiscate whatever the hell you need to confiscate.
Right.
Okay. Go put some liens and summonses on his bank accounts, okay, and start distributing some funds and some monies to these poor families.
Exactly.
What is your problem? Thank you.
You feel better now. You got that out of your system.
Wow. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Tell us how you really feel.
Right. Man, yeah, I don't understand. It's, to me, it's sickening, but it's always that privilege thing that shows up. He's getting a favor. He might have friends in high, when you're in those positions, you have friends and they're on your side no matter what. And I do believe that's the case. If it was someone else, they would have probably came and took his house, his car,
his underwear.
They wouldn't have been parading around like that.
I was just gonna say, Ovita, not to turn it into a racial thing, but do you believe if it was Roland Martin or Tyler Perry, that if it was one of those that had this major lawsuit against them, they have assets as well? Do you think that they would still be on television and still be dancing around as normal? I don't think so.
They'll be blackballed. They would be blackballed back.
Yeah.
They would be blackballed
by their own people.
Yep.
Yes. You would be blackballed. You wouldn't be on TV anymore.
It's not just him, because like this week doing, cutting videos for the show and for social media and stuff, man, it's OAN, it's Newsmax, it's Fox.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all these people are pushing this continuous. Almost none of the stuff they say is even true. You know what I mean? I don't even understand how they're a news network. How does the FCC not pull their broadcast licenses?
Right.
For saying nothing but lies? How are we as the American people not allowed to sue them?
Maybe there does need to be a class
situation
action
that we're in. You know what I mean? America versus Fox News Company.
Why are they not sending a lien or a subpoena over to YouTube or wherever his InfoWars is broadcasted, demanding that they shut him down? Why not?
Yes.
Why?
Now the problem is they have so many of these ridiculous right-wing offshoot apps and websites that, you know what I mean? I mean, we have to somehow put these people into obscurity, give them no platforms. You know what I mean? Tell people how crazy they are, but don't give them a platform to spread their nonsense.
Right.
So make people aware, but don't promote their nonsense when they're doing it.
Just hold them accountable.
Hold them accountable.
And that's all it's about. We
not that
don't care. We don't care what Mr. Jones's assets are. We just want him held accountable for what the law said he owes, and that's it. And
he want to go with the freedom of speech and all that stuff. He want to use listen.
Yeah,
it's a cap to that. It's a cap. If you start talking, 26 people were murdered. People were guarding the door to protect people, children. They lost their lives. They were gunned down, and you're joking. about this. No, you shouldn't be able to say anything out your mouth. I'm glad that they did sue him and won.
I'm actually glad Ovita brought up the First Amendment, because that's a good point, because these guys are trying to, obviously they're misinterpreting the original context of the First Amendment, but they're not looking at all of the cases that have gone to court over the years, over the centuries, that have defined what you can and cannot say. Okay, you can't just look at the original Constitution and go, I can say whatever I want. No, there are laws and precedent in place that you can't say everything. You can't make threats. You can't lie about somebody that could, cause them bodily harm or financial peril. You can't do these things. They're law. It's the fucking law. And I don't understand how it's not enforced when it comes to rich assholes like Alex Jones.
Here's the thing. They know this. They know all of this. They know that. They know that they cannot walk into a theater and scream fire. They know this. And as they continuously pretend that they don't, freedom of speech, it just not going to fly. It worked for a little while. It worked for a couple of years because of Trump. This is 2023. You're stupid. You're ridiculous. And the things in your mouth make absolutely no sense. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
And did y'all see the part where they made a mistake and sent his emails over to the that was God. That's what it was.
I think
that was an act of God. That was an act of God. There, but then at least sent over everything he was denying. He was like, yeah. Good.
Because he has no argument. Everyone here has made the point several times over. He knows what he's doing. He knows he's taking advantage. He knows what his audience is, and everyone knows the game. Even the people that are being abused by it the most are the most willing participants in it. The audience that eats this stuff up, the MAGA audience, the conspiracy theorists, statistically, they are not the loud majority like all the stickers on the back of the pickup truck say. They're actually a dwindling minority. Half of them are dying because of COVID because they still won't even take any medicine. They're just like, nah, I'll eat some dirt or put some horse stuff up my ass. But they're not a huge enough segment to actually affect anything for their agenda. And I hate to bring it in because it has nothing to do with this topic, but I'm going to say it, and it's the last thing I'm going to say. If we just vote, people like this won't be able to influence other voters. That's it.
Mike, I was thinking the same thing about 5-10 minutes ago and saying, no, we're not talking about voting, so don't bring it up. But absolutely.
Because that's what this comes down to. Manipulate the population.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. This is a example of not just sitting back and not voting, because I hear so many of us, don't count anyway. It's all a setup. It's all, our people have a lot of excuses.
And I say this a lot, and this will be the last thing I say. Not voting because you don't like either candidate, because I made this mistake and Trump won. Not voting is the same as voting for Donald Trump. Okay, you have to make it. You just have to vote. Common sense, please. Common sense. That's all I ask.
Again, that was in my head. Common sense that I feel, some people don't have. So you say you're not going to vote because it's not doing anything. So your option is to not vote at all, which means definitely nothing is going to change.
Nothing. No
common
but
sense.
I hear so many say that. Even college children.
That.
Yep.
Age kids saying it don't matter. It's a setup. They listen to conspiracy theorists. Okay, a lot of times with that stuff and saying it's a setup. It's already a win. You think that they're gonna win anyway. I've heard college kids even say things like that. That's why they don't vote, because and some are very politically smart and all that. But some do follow the theory. Whatever, my tongue is on. The conspiracy theorists about voting. And I've heard so many young people. But people die for the right for us, especially us, to vote. They die for the privilege of it. If we really did, and the numbers can't lie. I know sometimes people have cheated. I mean, that happens. Things happen. But you should not deny yourself the privilege that people died for you to have. Just shouldn't.
Absolutely. Okay, Alvita has the last comment. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in on today's Sound Off. Until
anytime.
Next one. Okay, so you know, there's really nothing else to say. We've said it all. This is a bad guy, and we just hope that he gets what's coming to him, and that the Sandy Hook families will get what they fought for as well. I don't believe that he's still has not sent over an apology. I could be wrong, but I haven't read or seen one yet. So yeah, give up some money, dude. Give up some money, and the least you could do is stop wandering around in lavish homes and housekeepers and meals and entertainment and all of that sort. Okay, guys, ladies, both, ladies and gentlemen, have a good evening. If you haven't a goal that you've achieved or accomplished today, don't forget to say to yourself, this is how